1, 2, what are you to do? They're hanging round the window looking in at you.
3, 4, scratching at the door. What's that sound? Who's underneath the floor?
5, 6, better fetch a stick. They're underneath the bed, hurry, light a candle quick.
7, 8, don't just wait. Sow the ground with salt and pray for it's too late.
9, 10, I warned you then. Now they're gnawing at your bones and they're clawing at your skin.
11, 12, perhaps it's just as well. The clown dolls are dragging your soul right down to hell.
Well, I shot a man today. Name was Fred. No, I did not kill him. He was already dead. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Eleanor Mays must be half crazed to shoot a man no longer living, and to shoot him twice in his head. Maybe you're thinking that Fred beat me when he was alive, but he didn't. Or maybe you're thinking that I had an unjust childhood, which I did not. Or perhaps you're thinking that Fred was out late every night with a different woman until one night he came home and I mistook him for a robber, and thus he had it coming, but that would simply be untrue. You remember, Fred was already dead when I shot him. I shot Fred, who was already dead, because I wanted to know what it felt like to shoot a man once or twice in his head. Now, I couldn't very well do that while he was alive, that is, after all, against the law. Now, you may be wondering how Fred died in the first place. Well, that's a simple if disappointing answer. My Fred died of heart failure. And naturally so, because the strychnine I regularly slipped into his tea simply did not do the trick. Had I greater womanly strength against a man of his 340-pound stature, I suppose I would have struck him with a crowbar. I would have liked to have done that. I would do it now, except I've already made such a mess. I don't recollect where I wanted him dead so bad. I never particularly wanted to marry him. My sister always said I was too sweet for my own good. Maybe she was right. I don't know. And I do apologize. You came all the way out here to arrest me, and I've just been squawking away like a house hen. Would you like a cup of tea? I have plenty left over.
They thought it was simply hysterical when you stepped down from the stage. You were shaking. Your friends all laughing at you.
You were completely under. You clucked like a chicken and everything.
It's hilarious why they imitated your antics of the hypnosis. You, however, knew that it was not you, but the entire audience of Dr. Hex's Mind Menagerie show who had been hypnotized. He handpicked you randomly from the audience. Oh. Give her a round of applause. Facing the crowd. Now, when I ring my bell, you all go deep, very deep inside of yourselves. Tell our lovely volunteer the thoughts you've hidden away, even from yourselves. You weren't scared yet. No, you were intrigued. That is until the faces started to shift from smiling countenance of spectators to something more grotesque and baleful, while you even saw a man licking his lips.
I hate her because she's pretty!
Oh, come on, you can do better than that!
I want to eat her alive! What does she sound like when she screams?
Ah, that's when it was one of your friends. As you sat in your chair, horrified and speechless, you realized that you were seeing people for the first time. Really seeing them. And they were monsters. Now, when I ring my bell again, you will remember none of this. You will remember seeing our lovely chicken lady, flapping her arms and clucking like a fool. The audience relaxed and smiled, and the monsters all at once began to laugh at you! The chicken lady! Give her a round of applause! Wasn't that fun, said Dr. Hex, as he caught your eyes when you walked away from him, and you wondered, did he see your darkest thoughts in there?
Much can be learned about life from the Halloween jack-o'-lantern.
The jack-o'-lantern starts out as a humble pumpkin, a small roundish thing that develops in a patch of nearly identical small roundish things. As it grows, it begins to develop its own individual traits, and for these traits it is abruptly plucked from the patch and cast out into the cold alone. Its innocent shell is marred by those who would carve into it every ugly image they already have in their heads. No one asks the pumpkin how it sees itself. But in time, all its imperfections are forgotten, replaced by a brilliant glow from within, shining brightest when all the world is dark. They will say, "It's so clever!" They will say, "It's beautiful!" Then it will eat the neighbor's children. Darndest thing I ever saw.
All the dolls that you forgot, with the hair that you chopped, and the nails that you painted, and the shoes that you lost, and the dresses you snipped matched today's styles, the faces you marred when you grew tired of their smiles, the places you threw them when you got too old, and the dump where they landed when the house was sold. Well, they remember you.
I'm in the dark place that you left me for safekeeping. It's so cold and lonely here, but I'm coming up to find you. Sometimes there are rats who nibble at my feet, but I don't mind that so much, so long as they let me keep my hands, for I will need my hands to hold you when I do come up to find you one day and bring you back with me to this dark place.
I was with child, William, but I was no one's wife. They beat and burned me, William, but I would not name the father. They told me I was carrying the devil's babe, but I would say nothing to save myself. Not even when you scarred me, William. Not a word did I say to harm you, even when you joined my accusers. When you married others. William, they came and took me in the night and forced me into a dark room. They took our child, William! They spilled my blood over the stone floor and scratched my face! I couldn't see the ones who did it. Was it you, William? Were you among them? They would have cast me into a pit had they not feared my soul, but fearful they were. They buried me with the mirror to trap my restless spirit, and now I am bound to travel from mirror to mirror until the end of time, seen only when my name is whispered thrice in the dark. But I shall have my vengeance, William, for one day it'll be your child or your children's children who unwisely utter my name. They will think it a game, a test of courage. But not for your descendant, William. For he I will pull into the glass to replace my soul and child, and I will scratch his face to match my own. William, oh William, what have you done? I loved you so. Still I remain your Bloody Mary.
Lottie McBain had a sweetheart named Clyde. Clyde was a soldier who farmed on the side. One day, a letter arrived at his door and said, "Clyde, my boy, it's time you went off to war." Poor Lottie waited. She promised she would. She waited much longer than anyone should. Her hair turned to silver and her teeth went to rot. Her knees gave out on her and her sight went to pot. Then one day, Death came round and said, "Lottie, it's time you finally back down." She said, "But I'm waiting, I promised, you see." And then Death dropped his foot and said, "But Lottie, it's me." Now Clyde and Lottie go reaping together, till death do some part, but for others, it's never.
Oh, which woman places a curse? Or which woman places a curse? Your husband falls down, clutching his crown. The which woman placed the curse?
Undertaker buries the man. The undertaker buries the man. He does what he's told and gets paid in gold. The undertaker buried the man.
The rats eat the dead man's nose. The rats eat the dead man's nose. They come out at night and give your lover a bite. The rats ate the dead man's nose.
Your lover man knocks on your door. Your lover man knocks on your door. He kisses your head, and you fall down dead. Your lover man knocked on your door.
You get what you paid for, my friend. You get what you paid for, my friend. That's what you get for buying a death. You got what you paid for, my friend. George Montclair did not believe in superstition. Whether he refused to believe in it, or simply refused entry to all supernatural beings, not even George could be sure. He was keenly aware, however, that someone unwelcome was here now. For here in his home, an unseen woman was laughing at him. Why, he could hear her even now. It was more of a playful titter-in, but if there were anything that George could bear less than superstition, well, it was mockery.
See here now. Think you're clever, do you? I'll seek you out, I will.
He huffed with indignation and turned to his wife Judith, who sat with a certain smile on her lips. It was this smile that assured George that his young wife was playing a hand in this, and, well, he would simply not stand for it.
I suppose this is all very amusing to you. You wives sit about all day, tending to nothing but your pretty trifles and your gossip, while we husbands slave away, thinking of nothing but buying your pearls. Well, I won't have it, Judith. I don't keep you in comfort for the joy of being made a fool by my wife.
He waited for an answer, but Judith only smiled and kept at her knitting.
Confounded woman!
George spat, and in the attic, or was it in the cellar, that other woman burst into cackles. This had been going on for weeks, ever since Judith had teased him in front of their dinner guests for his hunting skills. Oh, as if she'd know anything of the hunt. She would prepare the beast herself, they had a cook for that. All the same, she humiliated him in front of his most respectable colleagues. If George had been anything but a complete gentleman, he'd have had it out with her right then and there. But out of ill-deserved respect for his wife, he decided to wait until after the guests had departed. Since then, Judith had stopped speaking to him and began playing her childish prank.
Sometimes, Judith, I wonder if I married a lady or an infant.
The giggling and snickering wasn't constant, but whoever she was, she chose her time with great care. Sometimes she started when George was sitting down to a leisurely hour with the paper, and sometimes she woke him from his nap. Most unforgivably, she would sometimes start up right when George was conferring with nature, which left his stomach much in the same state as his nerves.
Who is she, Judith? I demand an answer. You've got some friend of yours hidden in the house, and I intend to find her.
But Judith only smiled and never looked up from her knitting.
Damnation!
George tried time and time again to find her, but whoever she was either hidden very well, or was much faster than him, for her laughter always seemed to come from some area opposite where after looking, whenever he started looking, wherever he was. Some days, George feared he'd lose his mind entirely, but as that was likely exactly what Judith wanted, he refused to give it. Today, however, George found it particularly challenging, so he decided to try a different approach.
Judith! Darling! I cannot bear this anymore. If your intention is to punish me, then you have surely succeeded.
But Judith did not acknowledge him with anything other than that blasted smile. That woman, the other woman, snickered at his expense.
Enough!
It was only when her head slipped from her shoulders that George remembered that his wife was dead. He had killed her several weeks ago after the dinner embarrassment. The serving fork still protruded from her neck. Now, how does one forget a thing like that? George didn't know. He blamed the strain that would certainly find no relief now that his wife was eternally beyond reasoning.
This isn't the end of this, Judith.
He said to his wife's corpse, which now that he thought about it was oozing a bit from its corset. Then he went in the bedroom, got in the nightstand, and got out a revolver. Do you think he hears the laughter anymore? Oh, well, I like to think that he does. But I suppose that depends on your opinion on superstition.